Okay, hi, my name is Sarah Goth. This is Political Science 160 with Professor Charles Ripley. This is debate number 6, week 12. Okay, let's get into it. So, my topic of debate today is whether or not the United States should be involved militarily in the Middle East. I personally have chosen the stance that the United States should not be involved in the Middle East militarily. So my reasoning for this is for a long time, under the guise of helpfulness and a savior complex, the United States has plundered and enforced imperialist notions upon the Middle East. Before the interference of America, the Middle East was a stable region with flourishing culture and an intellectual hub. The beginning of American interference is traced back to the Barbary Wars, which was like way in the beginning when America was like newly a country, but the interference increased significantly after World War II, when the U.S. took a far less isolationist stance in foreign politics, because after World War II they became a superpower because we dove in at the very end, and when everybody was sort of already dead or dismembered, and we were like, oh, we're everybody's saviors. That's when we became a world superpower. But basically, the United States has been historically extraordinarily greedy towards the oil-rich lands of the Middle East, and in the 1960s and 70s took over for the UK, who were protecting the Persian Gulf states, and they took that responsibility and continued the steady flow of oil from Gulf states. And then in 1990, from 91, during George H.W. Bush's presidency and Margaret Thatcher's prime ministry, the Gulf War was headed by the United States and the United Kingdom in response to Iraqi forces invading and occupying Kuwait, which was met with a lot of international backlash because they sort of just like rushed, well, not the Iraq just rushed in and sort of took over Kuwait, and there were a ton of casualties, but this had been following a lot of like isolationist policies that were begun by President Ronald Reagan, who heavily pushed that during his presidency, and that was ended after the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait. The U.S. had been slightly warmer to Iraq before this due to the Iraq-Iran war, and how the U.S. had just been in a huge conflict with Iran. In fact, part of the Friday prayers in Iran was once a "Death to America" chant, which was halted by the supreme leader right after 9/11. But getting into 9/11, the most influential event on Middle Eastern U.S. military history was the 9/11 attack, where Al-Qaeda terrorists bombed the Twin Towers in New York, killing over 2,000 American citizens. Infamously known, it was the United States government responded to the terrorist attack with a near instantaneous war on Afghanistan, where there were known Al-Qaeda and Taliban hotspots, but this was at least now has been heavily criticized as targeted, as most of the terrorists were actually Saudi Arabian, which the U.S. has good relations with, and Saudi Arabia was not attacked during this time. So 2 years later, in 2003, the U.S. invaded Iraq due to Saddam Hussein's alleged support of terrorists. Later, Bush and the government acknowledged that there was no evidence for this. The war in Iraq greatly destabilized the country, and due to its geographical location, it destabilized the surrounding countries. It's widely believed that the war in Iraq caused the formation and strength of the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, more commonly known as ISIS or ISIL. The United States It has directly chosen to involve itself in Middle Eastern business with right or not. This contributed to mass instability and chaos in the area, which is often blamed on the Middle East itself. Of course, domestic politics play a huge role where the Middle East is now, but our foreign involvement has caused casualties on a massive scale, ranging from destruction of economies to actual murder and assassinations. Does anybody remember the war minister? While I can see that ISIS has inflicted much damage to the region, it would not exist to the extent it does without the systemic root of hatred for the Western society, which was caused by ourselves and the US-UK intervention. In conclusion, we need to draw our troops from the Middle East after a system can be put in to replace it, and we need to mind our own fucking business, to put it very simply. Thank you.